Hello, today I want to share with you guys how we learn dancing in Brazil, or at least I'm going to share with you how my experience was. So, as I've told you before, my dancing started only because my friend, my best friend at the time, he forced me into dancing, and he made me go all the time before I actually loved doing it. Once I started loving it, and once I actually wanted to be there all the time, I was offered a position to be a bolsista. A bolsista is kind of an apprenticeship or an internship where every school works slightly different, but my school at that time worked in a way that I was still a student who was paying for one course, but I could do many other courses at the same time, until the point where I had proven myself to be very reliable and somebody who looked after the school and the students, which is when they gave me a full, I would say, scholarship. I think scholarship might be a better name. So how is it different? First of all, in Brazil we call dança de salão, which is loosely translated as ballroom dancing, but it's not really ballroom dancing, as you know, outside of Brazil. So we have our main styles in Brazilian dancing, and that's what we learn. So most schools don't actually teach you, let's say, a forró class or a ZOUK class or a samba de gafieira class at the start. Most schools, they will have a dance class, which is where you go to, and at that dance class you are going to learn what the teacher is going to teach you on that day. There's no request, or there isn't a set structure, and there isn't also a structure in level in most schools. So I'm going to talk about how the schools that I have experienced are, even though I know there are other schools that work differently. So you go and you enroll as a student and you turn up for your beginner's dance class. How long does it go for? There's no time limit. So you turn up every week and you pay on a monthly basis most of the times, and every week you're gonna learn something, right? Most schools will start with simple rhythms like bolero, that gives you a good foundation on weight transfer and closing brace, and then for fun they will do a little bit of forró, which is the most famous and most common Brazilian dancing. And then from there you go into your samba de gafieira, and then you go into your soltinho, which is our rock and roll. Some schools then will have the extras. So the extras could be a ZOUK, salsa, or tango, yeah, or other styles as well. Nowadays bachata, West Coast swing, but back then it was mostly ZOUK, salsa, or tango. In my school it was initially salsa. So I didn't learn ZOUK until I think after the second year, which is when we had a ZOUK instructor coming and joining our school. So then he started teaching ZOUK. But before that it was mainly samba de gafieira, bolero, forró, soltinho, which is the rock and roll, and Cuban salsa. Okay. So every week you come and you do pretty much like maybe 20 minutes of each style, or sometimes half an hour of each style. And that is on your beginner level. You're level 1 or level 2, level 3 or level 4. So let's say level 1, I've joined level 1, and in my school it was level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. But level 1 stays as level 1 for as long as the teacher tells that the class is going to stay at level 1. So they're going to be working on many variations and many combos and many techniques, but focused on a certain level of technique in all styles. So you need to cover all the foundations for forró, for soltinho, for bolero, for samba de gafieira, and for Cuban salsa before that entire group moves into intermediate, right? So, and that keeps happening again on your level 2, on your level 3, on your level 4. It's interesting because sometimes you see timetables of classes in Brazil, and you can check on the websites. They have an advanced class, for example, and they say starting started date. Sometimes that group has been going on for 5 years. So that advanced class has been going on for 5 years, right? Or that beginner class. Oh, there's a beginner course tonight at 6:30. Oh, but that beginner course is actually already 7 months old. So they've been doing beginners level during 7 months, going through all the techniques and combos until the teacher decides to graduate them and tell them, okay, so now that class is going to be an intermediate class or level 2 class or whatever that is. Then when you get to maybe intermediate or high levels, that's when you have special courses, which is then you have only ZOUK or only samba de gafieira or only tango, where you go to that class and there's only one style. Everything before that is a mixed style class. Right. Why am I sharing this? This came up actually a little bit on William Teixeira's video that is circulating now about how but what he was sharing, how bolsistas in Brazil learn so much, and we get really good at the foundations. I was a bolsista, so I had a scholarship. What I had to do is, for 5 years of my dancing when I was in Brazil, I was allowed, obviously, to go to the advanced classes when they were not clashing. But mostly what we do is we get the privilege of learning from the school free of charge, joining performance groups and doing maybe teacher training or assistant training or all these extra things free of cost. But what we have to do is we have to turn up to every single class that we are scheduled to do. Normally you're only scheduled to do 2 or 3 times a week, and those classes you have to do them as they are scheduled to you, not as you choose to do because you want to do this class or that class because the pretty girl is here or the pretty guy is there. Doesn't matter. Then on the other days you can then join whatever class you want to join. So for 5 years, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, which was my days, I would have to be in beginner's class or intermediate class at the most. And normally we are going to dance with the people who are struggling a little bit more, because we are there to help. If everyone is doing well, no problem. We're just rotating, making sure everyone has a partner. But a lot of the times there is a student who missed a class, or there is a student who is coming from another school, or they took a break of 1 month or 2 months. So we have to be there to help them catch up to where the group is. So we don't only get to do beginners classes and intermediate classes, foundation classes, for years and years and years before we even can become an assistant or a teacher. But we also get to help and understand how each person learns and how how the mistakes happen and how can we help them. So it makes us learn how to help people as an instructor, I would say, as a teacher, years before being one. So that's where I think the internship comes into. First is a scholarship where you're just learning, and then you become more of an intern where you're helping out the class by making sure that everyone is doing well. If a student is struggling, you take them on the side and you help them out and you catch them up and you do some revision, and then you join the group again. And sometimes I would spend weeks and weeks and weeks trying to catch up some of the students. And that's all I was doing on the side of the class or at the back of the class or in another classroom, just to bring the students back to that course, right? So William was mentioning how all of us in Brazil who have been through this system have, we probably, most of us didn't see the benefit of it when we were doing, and we were like, oh my God, man, I wish I was in the advanced class that is happening there. I can see the move they are doing. I wish I was learning that move. But the years and years and years that we were requested to stay in beginners classes and foundation classes is what made us what we are today. And I think that's why the Brazilian dance system, the way they do in Brazil, really makes so many amazing dancers at many styles. And now going to another side of this is the Brazilian system trains you just like the ballroom system, you know, the ballroom dancing that is all over the world. You don't usually learn one style, so you learn multiple styles, and you learn how to be good in close hold, open hold, fast music, slow music, big dance, small dance, you know, lots of body movement, not a lot of body movement, with syncopation, without syncopation. You learn all of those things. So, for example, somebody who dances in Brazil, they are going to learn slower because they are learning more dances at the same time. But a 5-year dancer who learned dancing in Brazil and a 5-year dancer who learned dancing outside of that Brazilian system, whether it is in Brazil or outside of Brazil, will be completely different because they will only speak one language. So a 5-year ZOUK dancer who has only learned ZOUK is very, very, very limited dancer, and that is what I tell my students all the time. First of all, I get them to do other styles. If they ask me what is best for my ZOUK, I'll tell them, okay, you got to do tango, okay, because tango is going to teach you how to control your foot. It's going to teach you how to roll your foot. It's going to teach you how to control and find your axis and make sure that you are in control of your own body without relying on anybody. And it's slow learning, which is going to make you an amazing dancer. Okay, so tango is the first thing I tell everybody to do, because tango to me just cleans up the basis of everything: posture, frame, weight transfer, drive, stretch, slide, rolling of the foot, rise, fall, compression, leverage and extension. All of those things, they're all in tango. And because usually tango teachers are super strict and amazing, I think that's the best way to go if you want to clean it up. You know, for example, in the solo dancing world, like a contemporary or hip-hop dancer, anytime somebody lacks technique, they send them to ballet, right? You got to do some ballet and then you come back. For me, if I want you to clean up, I'm gonna tell you, go and do tango. But obviously, maybe you don't like tango, and we'll work our way, or we'll find some other way to approach this. But I think that's the easiest way to clean it up, right? Because it's gonna help you as a close hold dance to improve your ZOUK. Where am I now? I think I got lost, but it's okay. Brazilian dancing, you learn many different styles, and that's why I think you become a better dancer in a short period. For example, let's be very honest. ZOUK is not a one Brazilian ZOUK lambada as we dance today is not a one dance dance. Like, it comes from so many other styles. It's not a one style dance. So we've got influence from all Brazilian styles, a little bit of bolero. You've got a little bit of the rock and roll, so chingo, the continuous turns. You've got a little bit of, I would say, tango legs, and nowadays we have so much counterbalance, which is all about the tango. You know, the footwork, the drive, and everything is very similar to bolero and tango. There's obviously, over the years, a lot of people has had inspiration from West Coast swing and how elastic and how beautiful the turn patterns are, and they were brought also into ZOUK. And also, it's a dance that has a contemporary feel, so you should also learn contemporary. So all in all, if you want to be a great ZOUK dancer, you need to learn contemporary, ballet, West Coast swing, tango, or more. No, maybe I forgot about other dance styles, but that's the basic you need to do. So if you're thinking about becoming amazing at ZOUK, and that's not gonna happen unless you're a multi-styled dancer. So you need to reach out to other styles to make sure that you are improving your ZOUK. That's how I did it in Brazil, but that's how I've done since I came to Australia all the time. First I trained in salsa, then I trained in tango, and then I started training my ZOUK, and then I trained in a little bit in West Coast swing, and I did I did 2.5 years of ballroom now, which I did standard ballroom, like the close hold, the big one. With I did my bronze, and I started my silver level. So well, just to recap, in Brazil all the dance courses go for years and years and years. You don't do 1 month of beginner, and then 1 month of intermediate, 1 month of advanced, and oh my god, I'm an amazing dancer, and then after 6 months people start teaching. There's no way. You know, most dance schools in Brazil, you don't become an assistant or a teacher before years and years and years, and teachers would be like after 6 or 7 years. So that wouldn't happen there. The second is you learn many styles at the same time, so you need to make sure that you're always training with multiple styles to become a great dancer, or as good as the best dancers from Brazil. And never stop learning, you know. Just to close today, I'm just gonna say this expression that I really love, which is, the moment you stop learning and stop training, that is when you start getting worse. Okay, so why? There's two things. The moment you stop learning, you start unlearning. So you start losing what you have been training. And the other thing is, the moment you stop learning, the dance keeps evolving. So even if you tell me, oh, but Alisson, I practice everything as I have learned last year. Everything, every lesson I practice every day, I do some type of exercises. That's not a problem, that's great. But guess what? This year we're doing so many other different things. The techniques have evolved, and we're dancing to different type of music. So many things change that it doesn't matter if your technique is perfect today and keeps on that level of perfection. The requirements in the dance is going to evolve, and you need to know more, and you need to do more. Okay, so make sure that you keep learning. Don't ever stop learning so you don't start getting bad. And make sure that you enjoy your journey, because I think that's the most important thing. You need to do what you love, and as long as you do what you love, you're always going to keep on getting better and breaking through all the dance challenges that come on our journey. Alright, so that was a bit longer than I expected, but I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon again. Bye bye.